Everybody, welcome to our next webinar. I want to welcome the Abundance Digital community, especially during this holiday season. You know, holidays are a time where we're used to getting gifts and getting things and giving things. And during the holiday season, it's typically been Amazon and FedEx. But there's a new way to get things delivered to you, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. And our guest this morning is the co-founder and CEO of a company that I've written about in my last book, The Future is Faster Than You Think. And that company is Starship Technologies. I want to welcome Akti Hainla to our conversation. Akti, good to see you.
Hello, everybody, and good to be part of this as well. And I'm happy to discuss about what we are doing and what could be done in the future. And you told me when you set this up that this is intended to be like a fun conversation. So I definitely intend to have fun. Thank you.
Good. Well, let me introduce everybody to you and a little bit about the company, and then we're gonna dive in because for me this is candy. This is exponential tech at its best. So Ahti, as I said, is the co-founder and CEO of Starship Technologies, and Starship builds self-driving local delivery robots. They are distributing and disrupting in a $2 trillion local delivery industry. Launched in 2014 by Skype co-founders Ahti Hainla and Yanis Fries, Starship Technologies operates in several cities across the world with headquarters in San Francisco and main engineering offices in Estonia, which is so cool. Starship Technologies believes that robots will revolutionize food and package deliveries, offering people convenient new services and improving daily lives. So first of all, it's great the way Estonia has gotten such a tech brand in the world. And how much of your team is in San Francisco? How much of your team is in Estonia?
Like the biggest part of our team is in Estonia, indeed, because that is where the engineering and product development is. But we are a logistics company. We are a company that is offering a delivery service, and that means we need to have people everywhere. So we're actually a very distributed company. If you ask how many locations do we have, it's probably 30 or something like that. I, as a CEO, I have lost count. I don't know, because we are opening up new locations all the time, and we have a hub in San Francisco where there are a bunch of people, but we also have people in a lot of different places as well, because everywhere we go, we also need to go to this place. We need to install robots there, map the area, and so forth. So we do have some people everywhere.
Nice. So I'm going to start with my favorite part, which is what's the founding story? Tell me, where you were and with your co-founders and the team here, and how did Starship come into existence?
Right. So the backstory to this was actually that I took part in a NASA Centennial Challenge, which is a competition, a robotics competition essentially, and I built a team for building robots. And the team always was telling me that hey, you create a Skype, let's do another startup together, with robotics. And I was always telling them that no, guys, let's not do that, because creating a startup is actually really hard. Whereas we're having here in the competition, we're just having fun. I mean, this is just fun. This is just pure engineering work. The creating a startup is much more than just engineering work or just building a robot. So we are not this bunch of engineers that just tries to build cool robots. We are about business. We want to disrupt the world of delivery, and we're not just a prototype robots. Like if you search for robot on YouTube, you see so many robots, most of which are gimmicks essentially.
Sure.
Our robot is not gimmick. We are offering a real service to more than 100,000 people, and they're happily using us.
So you had done a successful exit in Skype, which was a massive success, and you entered the Centennial Challenge. But where were you? Were you saying let's build a delivery robot, and then talk about those early days a little bit?
Yeah. We were really brainstorming together with my co-founder, Janus. We were brainstorming what are the world-changing ideas that we could work on. Because after creating Skype, we didn't really want to work on small ideas anymore, right? We want to build something that could be bigger potentially, right? So what do you do after creating Skype? You want to do something bigger. And with robotics, there aren't actually all that many things that you can do that really change the world, that really touches everybody's lives. So sure, there are robots in warehouses, there are robots in mines, there are robots in various places, but they don't really touch everybody's lives. We wanted to touch everybody's lives. How do we do that? With delivery. Delivery is actually something that everybody needs. Of course, obviously, e-commerce is booming and growing. Everybody knows that, right? But still, a lot of people, when they want to get something, a thing, they go to some sort of a store. They buy milk. They go to a store. It could be a big store, it could be a small store, but the vast majority of people in the world, when they need milk, they go to the store. And the same about going to a restaurant. Of course, delivery services exist, but what is it that prevents delivery services from reaching adoption of like 80% or more? And some of these things are convenience and cost. People are not really willing to pay like $5 or more, per delivery. They think that, oh, maybe I could just walk to the store myself. But with robotics, you can actually radically cut the cost of the delivery. You can essentially make it pretty much free. You can offer a 24/7 service, which you can't really do economically with people. A lot of it comes down to economics and convenience. We have also found definitely that people prefer getting deliveries with robots. So in the places where we operate, there are also traditional labor-based delivery services available. But we see that we generally get typically more deliveries than they do. People have the option of choosing either Starship delivery with a robot, or let's say traditional delivery with a person knocking on your door. And people tend to choose the robotic delivery. And
this is, I think, robots are cool.
Yes, exactly. Robots are cool, but it's much more than just coolness, because coolness, I think this is something that, maybe, you can do that the first like 3 times or 5 times, but then you think that, oh, you will select the option that is the most convenient.
Yes.
Maybe the most efficient, has the most, better selection or something like that. But we have had actually people, some of our top customers have used our service, have used our delivery hundreds of times.
Every day.
Like 400, 500 times, right? They could continuously use the service and like it.
So Aki, let's, for those who, the Starship robot's a beautiful robot. If you don't mind, let's share either some images or video, and then we'll talk about it afterwards, so we can see the design you ended up with.
Right, right. One thing that I would like to share is that when people talk about robotic delivery, they typically believe, I think, that this will happen sometime in the future, but they believe that it's somewhere in the future. We are operating in about 20 or 30 locations in the world. And outside these 20 or 30 locations, people believe that it's the future, but it will happen in 10 or 20 years. But inside these 20 locations, people have a very different experience. They actually see a world of 21st century where robotic delivery is available. And I'm going to show you just in Google Street View how that looks like. So let's go one of these places where we operate. I hope you can see my screen. So Flagstaff in Arizona. So let's see, what does this city of Flagstaff, look like, So let's go Google Street View, let's go in some place in Flagstaff. So what do we see around here? Okay, so this is this street, and there's some cars, and this is how Flagstaff looks like, right?
Yes.
Now, what else do we see? If we actually go a little bit forward here, we see a delivery robot here, right? And this is a random place, we didn't place this robot there to be, caught on Street View camera. Let's go a little bit further. We see another robot there.
Yes, want to zoom in a little bit more so people can see it closer?
Yes, so
Right there it is.
so here's another robot, and this is waiting to cross the street, and there was just a bus here that was driving, and that what prevented the robot from crossing the street immediately. And now maybe you can't see it, but there's actually here a third robot between the trees.
Yes.
Let's go forward, right?
So how
Right.
many robots are in Flagstaff? Do you have an idea of what a typical city of that size would have?
We currently have more than 50 robots there. So you see them a lot. You know, here there is another one.
Ah,
So this 4 robots here, right? And you know, I didn't plant these robots there, you know, to be caught by Street View. This place is full of robots, and it's full of robots because people are using our service all the time. We are doing lots and lots and lots and lots of deliveries in Flagstaff, and it's an operational commercial service. So people who live in these bunch of places where we operate, they have just accepted that this is the reality. This is their new companions on sidewalks. This is the new service that they can use, and they're really popular. People use them a lot. So it's not a gimmick. It's not something that will happen in 20 years. Yes, it will be in 20 years, maybe if you live in some really remote place, maybe. But in some places, it's a reality right now, and we are actively expanding.
nice. That's great. And you want to just show us, I mean, that was a great demo. Do you want to show us a few of the images to see the engineering of the and the design?
I can show how our robot looks like more closely. So people really love our robots. They use that all the time. Kids love robots. And you can see that the robot has cameras here in the center. There's actually lots of cameras. It has 6 wheels. It has a 360 video coverage around it. We're using tons of different sensors, but they're kind of, you know, hidden in terms of design. So you don't see a lot of the electronics that's really in the robot. We've been building this for years, so it's a lot of tweaking that we have done in the hardware, and we're building the hardware and software both together, and they have been optimized to work together in a good way. And you know, here you can see like what are some of the typical scenes, like, you know, when we round up our robots in operational areas, you know, for the night. There's just lots and lots and lots of them because the service is really popular.
So it's a beautiful design. You locked this design in how long ago?
We actually have iterated on the design, but not all that much.
Right.
We designed it about 5 years ago, and we have done some minor modifications. One of the modifications we have done is relatively obvious, and it's that we have changed the color of the lid. So we started with a black lid. Turns out, if there's a lot of sun, this is a really bad idea. So we changed it to the white lid. And we have done a lot of changes in the hardware of the robot. We have upgraded a lot of things inside the robot, but the form factor and the overall shape of the robot has stayed the same.
So I'm going to ask a bunch of just rapid questions. Why 6 wheels versus 4?
6 wheels is better for maneuverability. It's better for getting through, you know, potholes, you know, climbing curbs and things like that.
Yes.
And this is really important because we are doing lots and lots and lots of miles. We are actually probably in terms of autonomous driving companies, we're probably #1 in terms of miles driven during the last few months or something like that. Probably like up there with like Waymo and so forth. And the thing is that if a robot would get stuck, you know, it would be a big problem for us, right? We're doing, you know, thousands and thousands of deliveries every day, and with all of these miles, you know, lots of things could potentially happen. We want to minimize the number of times where we need to go and rescue a robot, for example, because it has gotten stuck. So maneuverability, ability for the robots to climb up curbs, to get through potholes, to negotiate like tree branches and whatever things that are
on the sidewalk, on the street.
Important.
How much does the robot weigh?
Off the top of my head, I think it's about something like is it like 80 pounds or something like that?
So I'm always wondering if I were designing this, how I would keep it from getting stolen and such. So how, when you were designing it, um, what was your thinking around keeping it able to not be abducted by college students, because you're on a lot of college campuses, and hacked? And how often do you have any kind of challenges like that? Just curious.
We never have challenges like that, and that is the truth. The thing is, we have a lot of questions about it. So I was wondering that when are you going to ask that question? Because everybody sitting in an office or somewhere thinks that our robots are going to get stolen. I remember the first time I landed with the robot in my luggage in New York. I was going to demo the robot to some people in New York, and I landed in JFK Airport, and I had this robot in my luggage, and this is this big box. So airport authorities came to me and asked, what is this? So I opened the box and told that, oh, this is a delivery robot. This was in 2015 or something like that, right? And they looked at me and said, dude, this is New York. This is going to get stolen in a minute. So everybody thinks that it's going to get stolen. In fact, it hasn't. Like nobody has stolen our robots, particularly in college campuses. I mean, it's like, okay, you mess with the robot, that this robot could be carrying food for your best buddy, right? Like your best buddy will not be happy because he or she doesn't get the food, right? So we don't really have problems with that at all.
You don't have an alarm system. I mean, you have cameras, and so if
we do. So if you ask what have we done, then yes, we do have an alarm system. So I guess people have tried maybe to steal the robot, but they haven't liked the experience. It's heavy enough that just carrying it, running away with it, it's not that easy really. So we don't really have problems with that, but it's definitely a very valid point. Like this was one of the things that we had, when we were at the stage 6 years ago, where we were two guys on the whiteboard. Yes, we did have back of the napkin calculations. We wrote down what are the risks, what are the things why this wouldn't work, and this was one of them. And one of the big surprises, if you ask, what are the learnings that we have had? One of the big surprises, also when I landed in New York with this, and New York isn't where we have developed our robots, so people didn't know our robots at all, right? But I put the robot on the sidewalk, and I assigned it an autonomous route, so it was just driving on the sidewalk, and I myself was just far away, looking at it from the distance. How do people react? People who clearly see it the first time, right? And they just walk past. It doesn't really cause any commotion.
It's amazing. So society's adapting. So I have a next question for you. Is it 100% autonomous, or does a human get in the loop on occasion during a difficult situation?
Yeah, exactly. There is a teleoperation component on it. And the beauty of this is that unlike a self-driving car, like if a self-driving car, if there's any sort of issue, like there isn't any time for any human operator to come in. Oh, well, yeah, in some cases, when the car is stationary, then there is, right? But on a sidewalk, it's really easy. On sidewalk, we stop, and a human operator comes in via video link, and they can resolve the situation. So we can stop as much as we want. Of course, there's an economics component on it. Like we don't want this to happen too much. And unit economics is very, very important in logistics, and we're very, very much working on unit economics. So if each delivery would cost $50, we wouldn't have any end to sell this to.
Sure. So you're operating like 99.9% autonomously?
Yeah, it's something like that. We don't really calculate these percentages. We calculate the money, the unit economics, but yes, it's around that.
And an average speed in miles or kilometers per hour?
It's something like 3-4 miles per hour. So it's definitely a sidewalk device. Like it's not something that goes on the road and goes really fast. So it isn't intended to deliver something from the other edge of the city. It's a hyper local delivery service. And if you think, for example, people getting, groceries and food,
Yeah.
Right now, they're getting it from, even if they get it delivered, they get it from establishments that are used and intended for people walking in, like supermarkets and restaurants and so forth and so forth. And they are built with certain economics in mind. And we have seen, of course, that in terms of grocery, for example, the small, corner stores, they have been going down, and the big supermarkets, more concentration, these have been going up, right? This has happened during the last, like, let's say 50 years in the world, right? The thing is, with delivery, and particularly automated delivery, I think there's going to be actually the opposite trend, because the closer you are to the customer, the faster you can deliver.
Sure, sure. I'm curious. Well, first of all, are you upset that Elon Musk chose Starship as the name of his rocket?
Yeah, we were there.
But on a serious note, I'm curious because I know you developed your design first, and then I saw Amazon started creating a similar looking ground robot too. But I don't see them deploying. So, I'm super happy that you're, for me, the most dominant ground delivery robot out there.
We definitely are. There's tons of companies that have announced plans of developing something similar. And, it makes sense. I can't blame them. Yes, of course, absolutely, it makes sense. But we have also seen how complicated all of this is.
Sure.
How much we need to build, how much do we need to optimize to make this really work? You mentioned, Elon Musk. How many years old is SpaceX, right? How many years old is SpaceX, right? It's close to 20 years.
Yeah, I was there when he started, 2001. Yeah, it's
exactly. And, and SpaceX is at the position where, yes, I'm sure there are a bunch of competitors, right? But they are ahead of the pack, right? So we are in the same situation. I think it's easier for us. We are not 20 years old company, right? We are 6 years old company. So it's easier for us. And it took us less time to get to first million in revenue than it took for SpaceX, I think. But still, like, it's a long road. It's a very, very complicated thing that we're building. It's not just, let's say, building an app, right? So I was building Skype before, right? Skype was very simple. I would say that, building Skype was, just like, let's say, build an app, right? Starship is definitely much, much more complicated. And that complication actually, let's say, keeps the competitors away, because there's a huge difference between, getting some engineers to develop this first prototype of a robot and, getting your first YouTube videos, and the robot is driving. Look, man, no hands, the robot is driving, right? It's relatively easy to get to that point, but it's much harder to get to the point where you're doing hundreds of thousands of deliveries, you have hundreds of thousands of customers, you are rolled out in dozens of different places, and people just love it.
So let's talk about your business model, because I'm very curious for those watching. How many of these deployments are you doing where you own the deployment, and are you selling it to companies that have university or campuses? Talk about the business model and how people can plug into Starship.
We operate three different types of business models, actually. One is the college campuses, and yes, that is a wide cooperation. We cooperate with the university, with the food service provider company there. It's our app, so people use a Starship branded service, right? Then the other model is that we are doing deliveries in neighborhoods and in cities, and that is food and groceries. And there we cooperate with the grocery partners, because we are not a grocery store. Like we do not operate warehouses of groceries and so forth, but we cooperate with the grocery partners.
So do you go into a city like In where were you just in Arizona?
Arizona, in Flagstaff, and
Flagstaff.
in California, the city of Modesto, we are cooperating with Save Mart, that owns the supermarkets.
So do you have a deployment team that goes in and it goes from market to market, educates the owner and says,
Exactly. So for us, it's definitely, it's a process. It's not something that that we do the first time. We know how it's done. We have launched playbooks. We have launched teams. We have launched owners. We know how long the process takes, how much it costs, and so forth and so forth. And we are optimizing it further down because we are launching in multiple different sites, per month.
Yeah, it's like the bike deployments and the electric scooter deployments, going city to city. And along those lines, and the third one is, do you go to company campuses?
Right, yes. We also operate in corporate campuses, in private territories, and this is more like, let's say, a rent-a-robot model. And these are factories, the hospitals, places like that. And that is mostly in Europe, but also some sites in US. But there are quite a few industrial sites in Germany, for example, that use that model. We are quite a global company in that we operate in a number of different countries. It's Germany, UK, Estonia, US, and many different states in US.
So talk about regulation here. Do you need any kind of special approvals from a city, or do you just land and deploy?
Usually we do. We do at least talk to authorities to make sure that what we're doing is legal. Because we need buy-in from the community. We don't want the people and authorities to hate us. We want to cooperate with various, local companies and so forth and so forth. So we talk to them. We clarify that it is legal. There are now these delivery device laws in many different states, which the lawmakers have adopted that clarify the legal status of robots on sidewalk. So we are utilizing these laws. There are also a couple of countries in Europe that have changed nationwide laws to make sure that robots are legal on sidewalk. So the regulatory situation definitely needs attention, but it's way easier than up in the air.
Yeah, I believe it's much easier in the air. Where was the first place you began operation?
First place, all right, that was a long time ago. Was one of the first places where we tried out the service. Our first larger scale service, I think, was in UK, and closely followed by a university in US, George Mason University, and Northern Arizona University was the second.
Nice. I would have imagined it would have been Estonia, but too much snow.
In Estonia, we have definitely used the weather also, which is considerably worse than some of the other places like California. We have used the weather to our advantage for testing the robot. So in Estonia, we have driven our robots for test drives every single day during the last 5 years, like every various different kinds of weather, thunderstorms and everything.
That's amazing. So yeah, the question of, what is your 10-year vision, Ahti? Where is robotic delivery going? Where is Starship going in 10 years? What's, paint an ambitious vision for me.
Right. So in 10 years, obviously, robotic delivery will be much more prevalent than it is right now. Like right now, I showed this street view situation in Flagstaff, right? This will be relatively everywhere, I think, in 10 years' time. And the thing is that in 10 years' time, this will have impacted how the retailers and restaurants think about themselves. Because you need to be closer to your customer in order to deliver things quickly. And also, if robotic delivery is available 24/7, people actually like to get things 24/7. Mm-hmm. They like to be able to consume a service while not interacting with people. So, there used to be a time where people, when they needed to buy an airline ticket, they went to a counter somewhere, or they went to a travel agent, right? And then other people were talking, visionaries, internet visionaries were talking, oh, this is going to be all internet, you can buy in the internet. And people looked at, wow, really? No, I don't think so. People love this human contact with the travel agent who really anticipates your needs and so forth. Right. I mean, it's the same thing with, groceries. Like, nobody loves to go to a grocery store. And when they have a choice between having it delivered by a human or by a robot, they choose the robot.
Nice. If you don't mind, I'd love to show the community here a video and have you just maybe speak to the video a little bit.
Within days of them being on campus, people started to just love them.
They're having a party.
Check this out. Ole Miss students, George Mason University campus here in Houston.
The campus of BGSU, you've probably seen what everyone's talking about. Robots.
Students and staff can access the company's app to order food and drinks.
Even in the rain, that can't stop these robots.
As a graduate student, we're not only focusing on school, but trying to maintain jobs or internships. Life gets really busy really quick.
I have pretty early morning classes. I'll wake up. If I don't have enough time to go to the cafeteria, I'll call up Starship and they'll just bring the food right to me.
Having a Starship available to grab lunch when I don't really have a break in between classes is really great.
It can get pretty busy and noisy in the dining halls.
The queues on campus are super long. Almost any place you go to has a line of college kids just waiting outside.
Now we can sit down at a nice park bench and have a peaceful lunch.
It just gets tiring walking through campus all day. When I'm able to come back to my room, I can just order a Starship and I can just eat, do my homework, relax. It just is really helpful.
I've used them a lot more than I ever thought that I would. As I have an electric wheelchair, battery conservation is always a problem. It's significantly more convenient and a lot safer to be able to have food come to me instead of having to waste battery.
You get to set wherever your PIN location is. You're able to customize the order, whatever you would like on it. You'll see the estimated time of arrival, and just like that, my robot is on the way.
Hello, here's your delivery.
Since Starship arrived, they've created jobs. I'm studying computer engineering right now, so it's nice to kind of get some of that field experience.
Faculty and staff love the robots because it's just convenient.
I love that they deliver late at night. Makes it really convenient when I'm hungry and nothing else is open.
They've gotten so much popularity that NAU decided to create an Instagram account just for the robots.
It saves me so much time. It saves me money.
I love you. I love you all.
Thanks for sharing that, Akti. That's
All right.
great. One question that came up from the community is that people are always worried about robots replacing jobs, and you've got Postmates and Uber Eats and Grubhub creating jobs for human drivers. Do you get pushback at all on your robots taking those jobs?
Not really. I think we are creating jobs as well. I mean, the whole industry is booming. There's just shortage of people to deliver things, and as I said, we are going to be the force that is moving a lot of commerce to be more local. So there are more of these small corner stores will actually have a business because they can deliver stuff. So right. We do not see really that we are displacing jobs, but creating them.
Yeah. So let me ask, the size of the robot, do you see Starship going into other robot size forms or anything like that?
We could be. We absolutely could be in the future. Right now, we are keeping things simple by having this one size, and there's just so much more that we can do with this one size. But we definitely can build different sizes as well. I think this is something that nobody doubts, right? If you've proven you can build this size robot and operate it nicely, profitably, then you can also build a different size robot.
Nice. Well, I live in Santa Monica, and I'm waiting for your robots to come here.
Santa Monica is definitely one location that we have considered a number of times on our maps. We actually have computer models predicting that what are the best places for our delivery service, both in terms of population, demographics, the drivability of the sidewalks, the traffic, and all of these things. Actually, Santa Monica has come up more than once.
Good. Well, let me throw in a vote for that as well. So super excited, and I'm hopeful that by 2020. Well, first of all, I'll ask one last question here before we talk about Abundance 360 in the following year. But I'm sure the pandemic has been a crazy accelerant for you. People must think you're a godsend to have that available to them. Can you speak about that for a moment?
Right. Pandemic definitely has accelerated our adoption. In the places where we operate, we have seen the demand double. So that is definitely something that we offer to the community. We offer a solution to pandemic to the community. That being said, I certainly do hope that the pandemic will subside, and I hope that these times will go away, but we are ready to help with our service.
Great. And how many employees do you have right now? And
are you a few hundred employees?
200 employees.
A few hundred.
I'm sorry?
A few hundred employees.
Right. Well, amazing. Congratulations, Ahti, on this. I'm a huge fan of the beautiful design and the business model. And if a corporate CEO watching this wants to use this on their campus, do they just reach out to Starship?
Right, absolutely. We have an active business development and sales team that is handling these contacts, business@starship.co, and they will answer you. And we are in discussion with many different universities and cities, and we just signed another site to launch with. I'm not going to tell the name yet, but we've signed another site this week. And I'm also not going to tell you what is the OKR target for this quarter, that how many sites the team needs to sign.
Okay, well, I'm gonna just look forward to the day where Starships are everywhere. They're, again, congratulations, a beautiful job. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for inviting, and thank you for the audience for your interest.
Yes, thank you.